Boruto is the next Hagoromo. I found a wonderful comparison that proves this. Just as Hagoromo is the guardian of Ninshū, Boruto is the guardian of the shinobi era, and thus of ninjutsu. The existence of both concepts, that is, the philosophy of Ninshū, which teaches how to use chakra for world peace, and shinobi, the concept of using ninjutsu for military protection, is or was threatened. Ninshū was replaced by the simpler ninjutsu, losing the true meaning of the doctrine and instead being used purely as a weapon for violence. Today ninjutsu serves to protect the shinobi world, but is slowly being replaced by the simpler application of ninja technology. Again, due to the fact that people are trying to use ninjutsu in simpler and more effective ways as weapons. The same happened with Ninshū and ninjutsu. In addition, Kawaki is even directly seeking the end of the shinobi era. Even though the context couldn't be more different in both cases, the basic idea is the same. Hagoromo is trying to keep Ninshū alive, and Boruto is trying to keep the world of shinobi alive, and with it, the true teachings and purpose of ninjutsu. Even if he's able to use Shinjutsu, he will not forget the way of a true shinobi. And with that, he could become the strongest ninjutsu user ever. When it comes to determine Boruto's abilities after the time skip, the very first thing we need to look at is Shinjutsu. We need to understand how Boruto will improve in this regard and why he might have a big advantage over Kawaki. Because Boruto is and always will be a shinobi. The time skip makes it look like Boruto is the shinobi world's last stand against Kawaki. Thus he represents everything that makes a shinobi, especially ninjutsu. This also fits with the whole shinobi technology plot in which Boruto learned that ninjutsu is important, even if there are such devices. So Boruto has evolved from someone who didn't see any point in ninjutsu to someone who will represent ninjutsu. That's kind of my basic idea, which I think Kishimoto is trying to make clear to draw the comparison between Boruto and Hagoromo. Ironically, Kawaki represents Shinjutsu, although he actually seeks the end of the Otsutsuki clan. He has already shown that while he has a talent for ninjutsu, he doesn't think much of it compared to his Otsutsuki abilities. Especially now that he has also received all of Ishiki's Shinjutsu. I can well imagine that he sees no point in continuing to learn ninjutsu, and since he wants to bring about the end of the shinobi era, he probably won't value the idea that anyone should ever learn ninjutsu again. However, if Boruto understands the functionality of ninjutsu, which Amado says is simply an attempt to copy the effects of Shinjutsu, he will not only be able to create all types of ninjutsu better than any shinobi before him, but he might also be able to master Shinjutsu like maybe few Otsutsuki before him. Perhaps he will not be as powerful as Shibai or other Otsutsukis who have consumed thousands of chakra fruits, but I can well imagine that Boruto could realize the full latent potential of an Otsutsuki without the power boost of a chakra fruit. What I'm saying is that Otsutsukis may not be born as powerful as they are at their full-grown age. They might, for example, receive a chakra fruit from their parents right after they are born, and then over time, with more chakra fruits from their parents, gain power until they are strong enough to harvest their own fruits and possibly provide foods for their family and probably for the elite of the clan, whatever their system may be. And this goes on and on until they become gods. Of course, they also have certain genetic abilities of their own without using chakra fruits, like for example all these dojutsu and their abilities. Humans, because of their genetic connection to Kaguya, could manifest and genetically pass on some of these dojutsu. Thereby it becomes clear that through training, these dojutsu can receive further abilities and even evolve. This speaks to the idea that an Otsutsuki, just like any human, can become stronger through long training to awaken certain powers. Powers that they might not be able to awaken with a simple consumption of chakra fruits. And since it seems that almost no Otsutsuki ever train, Boruto could be very special in this respect. Chakra fruits just seem to give you more power and control over Shinjutsu and chakra in general. So in a way it allows you to use the things you already know more powerfully and better. And perhaps it allows an Otsutsuki to awaken a particular Shinjutsu, maybe because that Shinjutsu best suits their body and talent. However, this does not necessarily mean that each of these Shinjutsu, which have been used by only one Otsutsuki so far, are also reserved for only that one Otsutsuki. Perhaps they can all be learned with training, but that is a concept that the Otsutsukis do not seem to practice. It seems that they just accept the Shinjutsu they manifest first, stick with it and focus only on that, not really trying to expand their Shinjutsu skills like a shinobi with ninjutsu. There are definitely Shinjutsu that can be used by multiple Otsutsuki. This suggests that there could be many more such Shinjutsu that any Otsutsuki can learn. The reason why they have not shown so many of these Shinjutsu could again be due to their lack of training. Especially a system like a school where everyone learns the same skills, basic skills. Among the Otsutsuki, there seems to be no common fighting system. Everyone is completely unique and everyone focuses only on chakra fruits. I imagine it like the clone technique. It is something that anyone can learn if they are taught it and if they practice it. Unless of course they are geniuses like Indra or Kakashi. Likewise, an Otsutsuki could possibly learn many different Shinjutsu if they only knew how or at least practiced. So maybe Shibuya Otsutsuki was unique in this regard and only became so powerful because he trained. Or was a genius like Indra and simply understood how Shinjutsu works? I think you get the idea. Boruto will become an Otsutsuki who, through training, will bring out the full latent potential of his Otsutsuki body. In doing so, he will understand Shinjutsu in the same way he did with ninjutsu. Boruto has much more possibilities. He could even invent a new type of jutsu, a mixture between Shinjutsu and ninjutsu. This is then very similar to Hagoromo and Ninshū. And since Boruto is now a full-fledged Otsutsuki, it could be assumed that he inherited all of Hagoromo's abilities, or rather that his own Otsutsuki DNA was activated due to the Otsutsukification, so that Boruto can now learn the abilities of his own Otsutsuki DNA in addition to the abilities of Momoshiki, so also the abilities of Hamura, and therefore also from Kaguya. Kaguya's abilities are basically called Kakemora. This is something that is not often shown in the Naruto world. It is a group of abilities reserved only for Kaguya and her direct bloodline, with only a small portion of her abilities being inherited these days. To be honest, the Kakemora sounds like such a Shinjutsu available only to a single Otsutsuki, or rather their bloodline. And since Boruto has Kaguya's DNA, perhaps he could make this his own Shinjutsu. All those bone abilities that Kaguya has, then also the space-time abilities where she can replace everything around her with her own personal dimensions. And also the space travel ability where she can open portals. Also, Kaguya could manifest chakra outside of her body, very similar to Susanoo, and all the other abilities that she can use. Apart from that, Hagoromo could also use something that he himself called Ninshū. It had a lot of similarity to Shinjutsu, no hand sign and very unique godlike abilities. We're talking about something like the creation of things. How can that not be something like Shinjutsu? And since Hagoromo was half Otsutsuki, one could even assume that Ninshū was in fact Shinjutsu, or at least a mixture of ninjutsu and Shinjutsu. So Boruto could master Ninshū as Hagoromo has always intended and possibly even surpass him. Therefore, I think Boruto could literally become the next Hagoromo. For example, Hagoromo was able to master all 5 elements and thus use nature transformation with each of the elements. Something that seems to be part of Shibuya's abilities as well, at least it looks like nature transformation. With his mastery of yin-yang release, Hagoromo was able to combine his yang chakra, the essence of physical energy, with his yin chakra, the essence of spiritual energy, to create a form out of nothing and bring it to life with a mere thought. An ability he used to create the tailed beast from the chakra of the 10 tails. This ability is of particular interest to us Naruto fans because it could even allow Boruto to revive Kurama. Whether Kurama then still has his old memories or whether he is a new fox doesn't matter. The reason why this is even a possibility is because of the concept drawing Kishimoto published at the beginning of Boruto. We see Boruto, Sarada and Mitsuki, each of them showing an ability. Mitsuki has already received his power. His sage transformation is exactly the same as on the concept drawing. The same goes for Sarada, she received exactly the same Mangekyo Sharingan. And thus the last remaining power is Boruto's. He was drawn in a chakra mode. He probably used Kurama's chakra or something similar. However, there's obviously a problem with this. Naruto is gone and Kurama is dead. And yet here we see Boruto in his chakra mode alongside two other already confirmed powers, so we have to at least assume that Boruto could find a way to use this chakra mode and thus fulfill all three character designs. The only possibility I see is if Boruto learns Hagoromo's Ninshū and thus might be able to resurrect Kurama, or at least create a creature similar to Kurama. For example, he could use the components of the 10-tailed beast as Hagoromo has done before. Perhaps Boruto could use the remaining chakra of Kurama that he and Himawari carry, inherited from Naruto, to somehow restore Kurama. There are a number of other ways in which one could argue that Kurama could be revived with the help of Ninshū. Since Boruto is now most likely being trained by Sasuke, it is not far-fetched to assume that Sasuke could tell him all about Hagoromo and his abilities. This would allow Boruto to understand what powers he could use, or at least in what direction Boruto should try his Otsutsuki abilities in terms of ninjutsu, to possibly create Ninshū. Because as we know, Indra invented ninjutsu from Ninshū. Accordingly, Boruto could find a way to Ninshū with the help of ninjutsu. If Boruto succeeds in learning Ninshū, Sasuke could even let him know that Hagoromo also created the tailed beasts, including Kurama, whereby Boruto could then have the idea to try to revive Kurama somehow. Considering how much Boruto now respects and appreciates his father, it is to be expected that he will try not to only learn from Sasuke's techniques, but also use his father as a role model. Even if he is being trained by Sasuke, this also fits very well with the chakra mode. This became Naruto's #1 power, the same power his father used. And Boruto clearly pointed out in the last chapter that the blood of Naruto and Minato flows in him. Long story short, Boruto might be able to do anything Hagoromo could do, and even Hamura due to Boruto's Hyuga bloodline. As crazy as it may sound, he could really develop all kinds of crazy abilities, especially with Sasuke as his master. Truth-seeking ball, 6-path Senjutsu, Sharingan, Byakugan, Rinne Sharingan, and who knows, maybe even Tenseigan. So really anything that could be part of his human Otsutsuki DNA and could be activated by the Otsutsukification. This again fits the idea that Boruto represents the shinobi world that is almost extinct. But that doesn't mean he will ignore the fact that he should be able to use Shinjutsu, of course he will. This is where Momoshiki's abilities come into play. Just as Kawaki is able to use Ishiki's abilities, Boruto should be able to use Momoshiki's abilities as well. Even Wood Release, or the ability to absorb chakra, looking a little bit into the future, which Boruto has already done once. And that's about it. What Shinjutsu do you think will fit Boruto? Let me know in the comments. And turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any new Boruto video. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye.